Hello guys, this is Harish Nagar and today I am going to talk about modernism along with a special study of wasteland by S Eliot. Guys, we know that 20th century is the most fruitful and complex century in the field of literature. Through modernism, we get to know about the new mentality, a new set of mind which made us feel like individual. Our civilization got diverse and the colonies divided into the blocks. And moreover, housing board came which divided us in many different small provinces. Now guys, modernism is typically divided in three parts. It's pre-modernism 1880 to 1920. Then we have high modernism 1922 to 40s. And the postmodern is modernism after World War II to present. Now guys, in the beginning of the 20th century, the human existence in itself was controversial, where various innovations took place and the impact of science was visible everywhere. This era has been famously called the Age of Anxiety, where W.H. Auden has written a book called Age of Anxiety. He discusses the same thing. This was the time of imperialism, where Rudyard Kipling in his famous poem said, "Oh, East is East and West is West, and never the twain shall met." Here we are going to discuss the first writer of this group and moreover the writer who himself stands for the definition of modernism. And guys, it is T.S. Eliot. Born in 1888, he is an American and he died in 1965 as a Britisher. He is not only a great critic but also a poet and also a philosopher. He calls himself a classicist in literature, Anglo-Catholic in religion and royalist in politics. He was awarded Nobel for 1948 and his famous work is Wasteland, which was published in 1922 in the magazine called Criterion. Now guys, Wasteland has been famously given certain names like G. Douglas Atkins called it an all-elusive compact, whereas another critic call it Mona Lisa of English literature. Guys, F.R. Lewis, another critic, call it rich disorganization. Guys, Wasteland has no plot. Still, it is divided in various sections and these sections are Section 1, the burial of the dead, then 2, a game of chess, then 3, the fire summon, and 4th is death by water, and 5th is what the thunder said. Guys, themes of this work are really important and remember this is the only omniscient narrator or the protagonist of the book is Thyracius. So if the question was asked that who is the hero of Wasteland, it is Thyracius. If the question is who is the narrator of the Wasteland, it is Thyracius. Now guys, Thyracius is a mythological figure who was made blind because he saw goddess Athena having bath. She was naked there and as he was looking at her, he was peeping to her, he got punished. She made him blind and but when he repented, she gave him a sight to see the future. Now in short guys, Thyracius is the blind man with the power to see future and past. And in Wasteland, the most important theme we have is barrenness. Barrenness that reflects the physical, mental and spiritual barrenness of 20th century. Second thing we have is rootlessness. Rootlessness is that we have lost our roots and our culture, our religion in our society. The lines are like what are the roots that clutch, reflect the rootlessness. Then the third theme is communication gap. This will also reflect the communication gap between man to society and man with God. We know this guys, modern society that we hardly have time for our parents. People don't have time for each other and the time has become the age of isolation. The fourth theme we have is death in life. The line that copse you planted last year in your garden, has it begun to sprout? Will it bloom this year? These lines show the same thing, that people we are alive but we are physically, spiritually, mentally dead people. And the fifth theme is life and death. It's simply related to the Indian philosophy where the Ephesus are immersed in water and once after they are sank, they emerge back. So the concept is sinking the Ephesus into the water with an hope that these will emerge back is an Indian myth and applied in that by water. The other myths we have is the myth of Fisher King We know about Fisher King myth. He is one of the long list of Round Table and he protects the Holy Grail. This man, while protecting Holy Grail, gets injured and become impotent. His kingdom suffer as it does his impotence, affecting the fertility of the land and reducing it to a barren wasteland. He is waiting for someone to come and heal him. The another myth we have here is Hyrcanith myth. Hyrcanith myth is employed in wasteland. Hyrcanith is a divine hero from Greek mythology. He is beautiful, young lover of Apollo. He is a boy. Though he is a lover of Apollo and he is also loved by another god who commands west wind, the gods Zephyr. Apollo and Hyrcanith, they are seen playing the discus throw where Zephyr, as he is jealous of Hyrcanith because Hyrcanith preferred to be with Apollo instead of him, blows the west wind that increases the speed of that discus ball and kills Hyrcanith. This is mentioned in the burial of the death. Now, then the next myth we have is Icarus and Daedalus myth. Icarus, the son of Daedalus, both were imprisoned by the king Minos. They were locked there and they had the only thing to flee away from the prison through fly. They created a wax wings and they started flying. Now Icarus, being young and enthusiastic, tried to touch the sun as his father warned him not to go so close to the sun, but he did it and found his feather melting. He drowned in the sea, and the sea is famously called now Icarus Sea. Now there are certain other myths called Indian myths. We have Da, that means Datta, Dayavam and Damyanta. Datta, Davayam and Damyanta is Hindi philosophy, and moreover the last line of the wasteland, Shanti Shanti Shanti. Moreover guys, do not forget that wasteland have 5 languages, 43 lines with 35 big illusions. Now there are certain things I am going to tell you which is very important for us, is that in literary styles wasteland has a disjointed timeline. The first feature we are going to look at, disjointed timeline. The plot is not a Carnot plot, not that easy to follow. The wasteland really does not have a plot that takes you from beginning to end. The only obvious structure it has that is the 5 section: the burial of the dead, a game of chess, the fire summoned, dead by water, and what the thunder said. Now if we talk about the voices here, as we know that Thyracius is the one who is speaking, there are many voices. Sometimes these voices are defined as there is clearly mentioned voices, sometimes the voices are intermingled. In terms of voices, we might experience that with all this weaving, we get a voice, especially in the burial of the death. The first section, there is a girl Mary, an aristocrat, reminiscing about her time in Munich, and she says the lines from Wasteland. When we were children staying at the Archduke's, my cousins, he took me out on a sled and I was frightened. He said, Mary, Mary, hold on tight. Then we contrast with the later one, a game of chess. The two women are talking and the voices are different. They are talking in the bar, and as the bartender is announcing closing time, we get these lines of poetry. These ladies, they are talking about their husband. I didn't mince my words. I said to her myself, hurry up please, it's time. So this is the voice of the bartender infused here. Moreover, we talk about the certain things. These are called the juxtaposition of past and present, that how the mythologies of past is simply related to the mythologies of present. We are going to talk about this thing, that juxtaposition of past and the present. There is a really great example of this in a scene in the Fire Summon, where there is basically a young typist, a young woman in her apartment, and her lover comes by. He is described as the young man carbuncular. This is a kind of funny because carbuncular just means pimply. So we have to learn a new insert here. Now what are the lines are? The meal is ended, she is bored and tired, endeavors to engage her in caress, which still are unreproved if undesired. So basically guys, the dinner is over. She is not that into it, but he goes it for anyway, and she does not push him off. That's really romantic, isn't it? But that's not at all if this will all it well. It would be an interesting scene that is kind of well done. But Eliot is not content with that. He has the whole scene actually being narrated by Thyracius, who is an ancient Greek prophet. This guy crops up and mess all the time. He has forsuffered all, and Thyracius keeps saying that he is watching this modern seduction scene and he's seeing that he has forsuffered Baal. There are certain things, a little wasteland, that you have to remember. Moreover, there are lots of literary allusion, so make sure when you read it, do not forget at any cost the opening line. April is the cruelest month was inspired by Chaucer Canterbury Tales, where the opening line is April is the month of showers. It's simply the opposition of that line. Moreover, there are certain passages taken from Thomas Middleton Game of Chess. There are other issues also like Spanish tragedy or Hieronimo is mad again related to Thomas Kidd, and then certain lines like A Handful of Dust novel by Evelyn Waugh titled They Come from Wasteland. Moreover, Wasteland was dedicated to Ezra Pound, where he calls Ezra Pound Il Milligro Fabbro, which means better craftsman. Now guys, I am going to recite certain lines which are very important for net exam. Don't forget the opening line, April is the cruelest month. Breeding. Then the line in the next passage. What are the roots that clutch? What branches grow out of this stony rubbish? Son of man. Then we have next lines. Madame Sosrosis, famous clairvoyante, had a bad cold, nonetheless is known to be the wisest woman in Europe. Then the next line we have, here is Belladonna, the lady of the rocks, the lady of situation. There was a question in Gujarat set exam which said that who has been called the lady of the rocks in wasteland. So here is Belladonna. Then the next question, it was a question of net exam, unreal city under the brown fog of a winter dawn. So the question was that which city is called unreal city is, and the answer is London here. In the same section, the line is that copse you planted last year in your garden, has it begun to sprout? Here guys, they are questioning the dead bodies. He says that if we plant these dead bodies, maybe we get able to receive the new life or the new humanity. Now, then the next line we have here, which is very important for us, is sweet Thames, run softly till I end my song. Sweet Thames, run softly, for I speak not loud or long. Again, this was a question in the net exam. The next line we have the most important one, in fact asked in net exam, is who is the third who walks always beside you? When I count, there are only you and I together. But when I look ahead up the white road, there is always another one walking beside you. That's the shadow, that is the reality of that human. And then the last line, why then ill fit you? Hieronimo mad again, datta dayadam damyatta, shanti shanti shanti. So this is very important guys. Hope you understand this quick revision of Wasteland. Thank you guys.